Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm glad to see you. I realize that we're coming into the 4th of July, Independence Day, freedom, and all that good stuff, which goes right along with our teaching. So I added some things about freedom and what it means to us as religious scientists. And here's something that, in such degree as we contemplate the spirit of livingness, it becomes manifest. So, join with me as I speak this in first person. I claim my independence from any false beliefs that I might carry about myself. They may have been influenced by my family of origin, or they may have been influenced when we were quite young by teachers or parents or whoever. But I pledge this day to live my life with joy, enthusiasm, and passion in anticipation of the good coming my way. Yay! I heard an amen. Oh, okay. I take a holiday from negative thinking. So as we come to this holiday, this 4th of July holiday, not only is it celebrating freedom in the sense of our country, but it's celebrating freedom for us. This holiday, which really means holy day, but we can celebrate it in taking a holiday from any kind of negative thinking. Just don't even go there. Just don't even go there. Every area of my life runs smoothly when I recognize God is my source and hold this and myself in high esteem. We've been talking about affirmative prayer, which also is called spiritual mind treatment or scientific prayer. That's our theme for this month. And today we're on the 5th step of affirmative prayer, which is to release, to let go and let the universe work through me in bringing forth whatever intention I have planted. So, it's like gardening. We plant a plant or we plant a seed, and then there comes a time we've got to just leave it alone so it can grow instead of going in and, digging it up or whatever. So just briefly, the first step of this affirmative prayer system is to acknowledge that God is all there is. The one power and presence. So in this teaching, we do not acknowledge any secondary or opposite power. So you can't be in line with our teaching and still say the devil made you do it. That's not in line with our teaching. Our teaching teaches that there's one power and presence. And also that each person, including you, is an individualization of this one power and presence. That's the second step. And in the third step, we affirm what it is we desire, and that's sometimes called realization. I like that word because it means what I'm affirming is real. And we want to know in this step that whatever it is completed. It's done. It's completed now. Not in 3 months from now, not even tomorrow. Each moment is the now. Each moment. And the power of the universe is always in the now. You know, Eckhart Tolle wrote this wonderful book called The Power of Now. And that's what it's about. And when we live in the now, we express our divinity. We express our goodness. Okay, so then, once we know whatever it is we're intending is already complete, and when I say it's already complete, I don't necessarily mean it's visible and right there for you to look at. Because we think in terms of the absolute, which is the invisible realm, and then we think in terms of the relative, which is the visible realm. So when we do our affirmative prayer and know that it's done in the invisible realm, and then the key is to allow it to move through you into manifestation. So once you get that, then you can be grateful for it, whatever it is. Be grateful for it before you see it. See, give thanks for whatever it is before you actually visibly see it. And then, of course, once you visibly see it, you could give thanks again. But it's important to have that attitude, that consciousness. And then once you really feel that, then you release it. And it's important that you release it so the universe can do its work. Now, that doesn't mean you're going to sit back on the veranda or in a hammock with a mint julep and wait for it to come. It means you're going to think in terms and listen to your intuition in terms of what it is you need to do in order to allow it to work through you. See, it can't come to you from out here somewhere. And if you're waiting for it to appear out here somewhere through your neighbors or your spouse or your ex-spouse or whoever, that won't work. It has to come through you, through your consciousness. And someone has asked, how long do I have to treat if I don't see anything happening? Well, that's a valid question. And the answer is, until you see it. So, you can't do too much affirmative prayer. The important thing is, don't worry about it. Worry is a prayer of negativity. Worry is a prayer of negativity. See, when you worry, you're really doubting that this prayer is working. So in keeping with the theme of freedom, you might think of the affirmative prayer as steps to freedom. steps to freedom. In fact, Dr. John Waterhouse has written a book, 5 Steps to Freedom, which are exactly the 5 steps I have just mentioned. And that's what they are, 5 steps to freedom. So, I want to take a little bit from step 5, which is release, just a little bit for you to have maybe a new perception on it. Let go and let God. That's one way of putting it. But the only way it's ever going to get done is if I do it myself. Have you ever said that? Well, the only way this is going to get done if I do it myself, and I'm going to struggle and strain, and I'm going to make it work, and that's it. Zonk. Zonk. It's easy to think that way when we have strong expectations and nothing seems to be happening. But you see, how it happens is none of our business. If we have certain avenues through which we think whatever it is we're praying for, if we think it has to come through certain avenues and that's it, we're blocking a lot of other avenues. So it's important for us to be open. Divine presence exists inherently within us, which means that we always know what to do. Our intuition always tells us what to do in order to bring this manifestation through us. Notice I didn't say to us. To bring the manifestation through us. Now, sometimes that means we have to change. Ouch. Me? Change? What do you mean, change? I've been doing this for so many years, and as good old Dr. Phil says, how's that working for you? How's that working for you? So each one of us just may consider a tiny little bit to change something in our lives. Think of one thing. I'm going to let you do this exercise within yourself now. Think of one thing that you know deep down in your soul that if you changed, you'd be better off. Just one thing. We don't have time to go through all of them. Just one thing. Think of one thing that just possibly, if you made a change in that area, your life would be better. And then, here's something that I think is important for us to know. It's okay if my life gets better. It's okay if my life gets better. Sometimes in the past I have thought, if my life gets too good, somehow the rug's going to be pulled out from under me. Anybody ever have that feeling? But it's okay for your life to get better. No matter what anyone says. No matter what anyone says, it's okay for that to happen. But anyway, so we come to the place sometimes of, okay, I want this. I'm planning my intention. I'm following the steps. I'm doing the best I know how to do. As Maya Angelou said, when you know better, you're going to do better. So we're going to think about knowing better and doing better, how do we know what to do better? How do we know that? There's an intuitive connection to divine mind within you. It's already within you. You don't have to go out and seek it. It's innately within you. You came equipped with it. Just like I think the babies and the young people now are coming in already equipped to understand all the electronic world. They already know how, It's amazing. I was asked to help my 12-year-old grandson to edit one of his reports, and he came over to my house because I had Wi-Fi, and he showed up at the door, soccer shorts, barefoot, and his laptop under his arm. I said, "Is that it?" He said, "Yeah, that's all I need." So he came in and he opened his laptop and he got hooked up to my Wi-Fi and we edited his report. So the young people are really coming in, somehow. I don't understand it, but somehow they're already in tune with the world, you see, with the evolution of the world. And those of us who aren't making an effort to keep up with that are really lagging behind. And so, my book, by the way, is an ebook now on Amazon, so I was just excited that I could download it on my iPhone. And anyway, it's only $4.99 if you want it on your electronic device. And it's a wonderful thing to have because, you can go to the contents and it has all the prayers listed. So if you want one on I live in optimal health, you just hit that one and it pops up. It's really fun to do that. I've used it for myself a lot. But anyway, I just thought I'd mention it. Somehow you're going to know deep in your soul what it is you're to move forward to. You're going to know that. You're going to know how to do it. In some way, it's going to come to you. So it's important that we listen. We listen to our intuition and then act on it. So in some ways, it's natural to let go of things. But one step in being able to let go of things is to be okay with things as they are now. Now that may be a tough one. But in order to move from where we are now, we need to be okay with where we are now. And Ed earlier reminded me of a saying by James Mellon, which was in a prosperity course that we engaged in at one point. My life is unfolding perfectly no matter what. My life is unfolding perfectly no matter what. Now, it doesn't mean you have to stay stuck there if you want to move on. But if you acknowledge where you are now and are open to it and relaxed in it, then you're going to be more open to the infinite and to your intuition and to ways of letting go. Ernest Holmes said this about releasing. What we outwardly are and what we are to become depends upon what we're thinking For this is the way we're using creative power. The sooner we release our minds from the thought that we have to create, the sooner we should be able to work in line with Spirit. So once we plan our intention, our subconscious mind or subjective mind receives it. Now, our subjective mind and divine mind is one mind. That's so important. Your individual subjective mind and universal mind that's holding the planets in place is one mind, not separate minds. It's one mind. So whatever it is you're thinking or feeling goes directly into divine mind or creative intelligence, and creative intelligence acts on it. So, sometimes one of my teachers said, always remember that when you do a spiritual mind treatment, you're not the one doing the work. That was based back in the Bible when Jesus said, it is the Father within me that doeth the work. Remember that, those of you who went to Sunday school. It is the Father within me. Father was a way of saying divine mind. It's also called creative intelligence. So I was taught that when people come to you and you are grateful for a prayer that you did, to say, yes, isn't divine mind wonderful? Isn't creative intelligence wonderful? Because you see, I didn't do the work. The universe, and that's so important to remember. And you see, because of that, it means you don't have to figure out how to do it. You're off the hook on that one. You don't have to figure out how to do it. Creative intelligence, and I love that name. It's creative and it's intelligent, and it thinks of things far better than I could ever think of. But it takes it and runs with it. But it can't run with it if we're still hanging on. So we have to let go. Let go and trust, you see. This is happening. In this book, The Science of Mind, I'll let the Spirit take care of the universe and my affairs, while I release all responsibility and I am at peace. The shorter version is one that I use a lot, and it's, I am at peace as the perfect way opens. That covers a lot of stuff. I am at peace as the perfect way opens. Okay, here's another from, this one's from a book Ernest Holmes wrote called Love and Law. I have no responsibility except to create the right kind of mental receptivity. See, that's your only job, is to create the right kind of mental receptivity. So all we need to do is to realize the truth, and that is to use the mind in a positive way, and the power that creates everything will do the rest for us. When we keep our mind in a state of expectancy and receptivity. That's our job. It's coming to me. I know it. I accept it now. I claim it. Sometimes I'll add, I recognize it when it appears. Because sometimes things come to you and we don't recognize that it's part of the solution. We don't recognize that whatever comes to us, sometimes we don't see it as part of the solution. So another shortcut that I use for myself is only good comes of this. So those are two shortcuts for you. I'm at peace as the perfect way opens, and only good comes of this. And if we keep it just in those two simple terms, this open receptivity, that's part of the releasing, you see. That's part of the releasing. Until we come to a point where we see that this is all we have to do, no matter how hard we struggle, we could not do anything else. Releasing, letting it go. And that's in connection with life in general, in terms of freedom. If we have grudges of any kind, or think people should do something other than what they're doing, which is none of our business, we need to let go of that. Because if someone's in prison, if we're taking that other person and putting them in a prison of some kind, it takes two to hold them in prison. The prison person in prisoner and the jailer. You see, it takes two people. And until you let the prisoner go, you're going to be there keeping the other person in prison. So you're really putting yourself in prison, you see. If there's any judgment, if there's, thoughts about, gee, that person would be much better off if they did such and such. Well, who are you to say that? Who are you to say that? You see, when we judge other people, we're really judging ourselves. Because if what we see in someone else has to be a part of who we are, or we wouldn't see it. That's called shadow work. Carl Jung is the one that put that in the field of psychology. So to get out of prison ourselves, we need to release everyone else and just take care of ourselves. Be the best me we can be, the best person we can be. Here's what Emmett Fox said about this same topic. You belong to a thing with which you are linked in thought. That if you have any judgment or resentment about anybody, you're linked to that. It's like a chain and ball effect. And at some time or the other, if that tie endures, the object of your resentment will be drawn again into your life. Now, unless you want whoever you have a resentment about to come back into your life, you better let it go. You better let it go. You must cut all such ties by a clear and spiritual act of forgiveness. You must release this person, and you know what? Not just release them, bless them. Bless them and release them. See, one technique is to visualize this person on the stage and visualize all of these blessings coming to him or her. And you're happy about it. You're actually happy about it. Then you're free to see all of the blessings come into your life. But first, it's important to let go of anything that's standing in your way. So that's part of the freedom, as well as part of your 4th of July freedom celebration. Okay. This has been said that through our forgiving and letting go, we discover freedom from all our past, what we think of as mistakes. We let go of all the woulda, shoulda, couldas that we bring on ourselves a lot of the time. So we need to let all of those go. And I'm going to do a treatment now, written by Ernest Holmes, that has to do with freedom. He writes, I am free with the freedom of God. Today I manifest freedom with joy. I think of it with deep gratitude. I affirm that God's freedom is my freedom. I expand my consciousness and invite new experiences, knowing that they shall be created for me by the same power that makes everything. I enter into this freedom with the feeling that all things are working out well. See, that's how we need to feel, that things are working out well. And with the deep and sincere desire to so live that my freedom shall be imparted to others, that we may all feel that we are in partnership with the divine. And so I gratefully release this to Divine Mind and let it be so. And so it is.